Hello, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Welcome. All right, we are having our school board candidate forum today, and WCEA would like to thank you for coming, showing up. And we have 4 of our candidates that are 2 are running against in District 5. We have Miss Cheryl Johnson Brown. We also Cindy, I'm sorry. I was looking at Cheryl. I'm sorry. I was looking at Cheryl. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good.
Maybe I should read my own cards here. Okay. And then we have Cheryl Williams, District 5. We have Tonka Taylor. He's unopposed, but we definitely wanted to make sure that he was invited. Okay. We have Jasper Carter, District 5, and we have Ashlyn Marquez, District 1. Okay. What we were going to do is take the first 5 minutes or the first few minutes to give each candidate a 5-minute time to talk to you, explain whatever they want to, introduce themselves. Then after that, we'll get into the questions. Okay? So how about we start with Cindy?
And I may sit or stand. I have no idea. I'm usually a stander, stand and talk. I'm not used to sitting and talking. So actually we'll go with my gut. So yes, my name is Cindy Johnson Brown. I'm running for School Board District 1, and I am from Chipley, Florida, born and raised. I graduated from Chipley High School in 1992, and this is my 30th class reunion. So from Chipley, I live in Wausau, and I go to church in Vernon, so I'm all over the entire county. If you had to describe myself, I'm a Christian conservative. I'm a wife. And I'm a mother to a 12-year-old daughter. She attends Rolac Middle School, Olivia Brown, in 7th grade. And so I'm also a speech language pathologist. And with that, you know, when I left Chipley, I went to UCF, graduated with communication disorders, went on, got my master's in speech language pathology, top of my class. Nova Southeastern University, the faculty there asked me to come down to Miami, and I worked for the university down there where I oversaw master level students, the clinic, and I also went into the community in Broward and Dade, and we had various contracts in charter schools and so forth. And so I spent 15 years in Central and South Florida, even though I'm from Chipley, and I've been back now for 12. But in those 15 years, I also worked for the Department of Education for 7 years. And I worked at a school very similar to Washington County. It was a Title I school as a speech language pathologist. I was also part of a lot of pilot programs with response to intervention. So I know what it's like to be in the classroom, 1, as a therapist pulling kids out, 2, in the classroom, because I did RTI. That was the pilot program I was part of. And so that was all about inclusion. And so I was going in the classroom, adapting the curriculum to meet the children's needs, working with the teacher, modifying our teaching styles to that child. So I have all that history. Currently, I have my own practice. So what I do now with Therapy World of Northwest Florida, I really focus on early intervention. 1 in 30 kids are autistic. 1 in 3 are developmentally delayed. So that's really where I put 99% of my focus right here in Washington County the last 12 years since I've been back. Early intervention's key. So just think about that. These teachers, that's, you know, your job is hard. That's what you're getting, especially in the elementary. I mean, you're getting these children with various disabilities, and it's tough. So the earlier I can get them, the more I can make an impact. If they're 3 and they still need therapy, I work with public schools and we transition these kids into the pre-K ESC program. And so, look, a local focus of mine, you may have to buzz me at 5 minutes, but a local focus, and I'll just highlight this really quick because I'm sure we'll talk about it. I think that 2 things resonate when I'm talking to the teachers in Washington County, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, paras, and admins. 1, lack of empathy. It resonated, and low salary. Those are 2 things. I mean, there's other things that we have to work on, but those resonated. So some things I think that we need to focus on. We need to work on communication. We need to work on future workforce. We need to work on engaging our stakeholders. You are a stakeholder. Parents are a stakeholder, the students. We need to work on engaging the community, and I can talk about that more as we go. But, as a state focus, and I'm sure you've heard this speech before, and I'll just go over this briefly. On a global level, state focus with DeSantis, because I do a lot with him with education reform. I don't believe critical race theory belongs in the schools. I think Washington County is very special, and we need to preserve that. That's why I believe that we've had infiltration in the school boards, which you see in Central and South Florida during COVID. That's why it's important to vet your politicians. You didn't realize how much power a school board had until you saw what happened down south. And so anyways, I just believe critical race theory doesn't belong in classrooms. I believe parents have rights. I don't believe they should ever co-parent with the government. I don't believe we should talk about gender identity and sexual orientation with children. And I'm really big on the books with sexually explicit material. I'm sure if you love books, you don't want to think about banning them, but maybe we can meet in the middle if that is a big deal for you. I have ideas on how we can come together to where a 10-year-old girl doesn't need to walk into our Kate Smith or Vernon Elementary library and check out a book that's sexually inappropriate. So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm Cindy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm going to stay seated. I'm more comfortable that way. My name is Cheryl Williams, for those that do not know who I am. I am running for school board, the District 5 seat. Sorry, y'all just overlooked my little stuttering just a little bit. I went to Graceville till the beginning of my 10th grade year, and I transferred to Chipley High School, graduated in 1996. My dad is retired from West Point Home here in town. I have 2 sons. My oldest will be 24. He's a welder. He's a husband, and he has his own welding business. I have Ian, which is 15, as of this past, the 8th, and he is a 9th grader here at Chipley High. So I have 3 bonus children. Sierra is a family nurse practitioner. Jenna is a cafe manager and owner, and Chandler, who is a car salesman and welder. I have been asked the questions, why do you want this position, and do you have time for this position? The answer to these 2 questions are simple. Why? I'm committed to make Washington County schools the very best possible for each and every one of you, students, faculty, staff, teachers. Time. I work remotely from home. I work for an international mortgage servicing company. So I work from the house. I can kind of work my schedule around, things that need to be. My passion is to see FPTC prosper and rise to its full potential. I want to see more growth and expansion of our tech college. We desperately need more trades. I am an independent thinker and great listener. I will listen to all sides before making any decisions, and my decisions will be based on what is best for everyone involved. I am here to be an advocate for each and every one of you. Thank you.
I'm Will Taylor. My nickname is Tonka. I didn't even know I was going to be up here today. I thought it was up to them, but I do want to take the time to tell y'all how humbled I am to be able to serve y'all as a board member. And when I took office, everybody said, well, what are you going to put on your name tag? I said, well, Will Tonka Taylor, And I got that nickname in high school, and it was from playing football, and that's how important school was to me, that it's carried into my adult life, But I'm here for y'all, and I went unopposed this time, and I'm getting to serve 4 more years, and that's humbling. But my thing is that I'm here for the teachers and the students. I've got 2 kids in school, but I didn't have the greatest home life growing up, and it was teachers that brought me through to get me to where I'm at today. Not all of it, but a lot of it was the teachers. I didn't get smiles at home a lot of days. It was teachers. I tell a lot of people, I think I sat in Miss Simmons' class and told them, if it weren't for getting off the bus at Kate Smith and Susan Roberts giving me a big smile, I didn't get home and get a smile. It was to do something else. So they taught me a lot of my discipline, a lot of my work ethic come from football coaches, from teachers. You never know the impact that you have on kids' lives, and I'll tell that to all the teachers I talk to. So I do what I do for y'all and my kids. I also want to say this before I give the microphone over. This is a very, very important election, and not that between these four, I went to the supervisor of elections office and we were talking. It's been over 20-something years before 2 board members have been replaced at one time. Now, if you want to light a fire, this is going to be when we light a fire, because there will be 2 new board members at one time. And I'm not saying, gang up and bully anything. I'm just saying that this is a very important election. And anyway, I won't take away from them, but I do want to just thank y'all for allowing me to serve y'all, and I look forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jasper Carter. I'm running for School Board District 5. I was born and raised in Washington County. I live in Wausau. I graduated from Chipley High School in 1993. I'm a firefighter paramedic over in Walton County. I was asked the same questions Cheryl was asked, am I going to have time for this with my job being in Walton County? My answer to that is yes. I work 2 days on, I'm off 4 days. So I do have plenty of time. I was also asked a question recently, well, what happens if your 2 days on are school board nights? It's very simple. I have annual leave. Take annual leave, we can do swaps, it's not a big deal. Those are scheduled in advance and I have plenty of time. My daughter, Kaden here, she graduated from Chipley High School this year. She's on her way to Chipotle. I feel strongly about what Tonka just said. The teachers are the backbone. Without them, none of us would be here. So like he said, I'm here for y'all, and if y'all ever need me, whether win, lose, or draw, I'll be glad to help anything I can do. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I wanted to thank y'all for putting this together. This campaign's been long, kind of short, but also long, and a lot of y'all were on summer break for a lot of it, and it was difficult to get in, try to speak to everybody, so thank you for the effort of putting this together. My name's Ashlyn Marquez. I'm a candidate for School Board District 1. I'm a business owner and a mother. I can sit up here for 5 minutes and talk about myself and my background and bore you to tears, but I'm not going to do that today. The simple facts are I'm a community member who cares about this community. I'm a business owner. I care and I want to help. I'm a mother who is very appreciative of the educators in my children's lives. I see the struggles that you as teachers face each day, and I want to use my voice to help. My kids come home, tell me the things that other kids are doing, kids getting hit, teachers getting hit, school bus drivers having to deal with things, going to and from school. I want to help. I want to see what I can do to listen to y'all and help you. I'm a tradeswoman. I see the struggles that the technical college is facing. That affects all of us. Having Florida Panhandle Technical College here in our community is an amazing asset that most communities don't have. And if we don't utilize it and start talking to these kids about dual enrollment and talking to them and letting them know that these trades that are offered here in this community can totally set your life up for just success, we're gonna lose it, and we've got to fix that. It's simple as that. I'm a problem solver, I'm a team player, and I want to support y'all in any way I can. Thank you again for having me here today.
You're gonna hang on to that.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask you, what do you think qualifies you to run for school board?
Let's see what I wrote here. I'm a good listener. I'm a communicator. I communicate with my clients every day. I'm a hairstylist. I didn't mention that before, but that's what I do. My clients come, sit in my chair, tell me about their lives, tell me about their problems, their issues, and I listen to them. What they say to me is confidential. I'd never repeat it to anybody, but if they have a problem, I'm gonna try to figure it out, see what I can do to help them. And I'm a mom, and like I said, I'm just appreciative of the educators and coaches and band instructors and everybody in my kids' lives.
Mr. Carter, do you have any experience managing several 100 employees, and if so, where at?
Not that many employees, no, I don't. I used to be a business owner. My dad and I owned CNC Satellite at several points in time. We had a couple of employees that we managed, and I was able to do the finances, the ordering, the scheduling, and all that. Currently, I'm a lieutenant over at Walton County Fire Rescue. My station, it's me and 5 more. I do manage those. I'm in the union over there, and if the union has a problem or any of the people on duty have a problem, they can all come to me for that, but I don't have any experience with that.
Thank you.
Tonka, what if any particular issues encourage you to decide to run for school board?
The what now?
What, if any particular issues, made you decide to run for school board?
Having kids in school is what made me run for school board. And this is what I tell people all the time. You can go to a restaurant, you can go in and you can sit down at a restaurant, and you can get the waiter that's been there for 20 plus years that's worked at that restaurant. He can come and he can tell you the best thing on the menu and what he recommends, but you know what's best for your kids. You know what they're gonna eat at that restaurant. So it don't matter what he says, it's what you know is best for your kids. And I feel like having kids in the school system is the best thing to have to be on the school board as far as making decisions, because this is what I tell people too, talking to teachers. When I make a decision on Monday night, I go home and my kids get up and go to school and live with the decisions I made that Monday night, you know. Well, nobody else has to do that. I'm not saying that sways their decision, but you know, it's very important to me that my kids get what they need at the school. So I have to make the decision based on what's best for my kids and what I think is best for the kids, you know. And that's the only reason that made me sign up at the time was my kids going to school here, you know. And
Thank you.
thank you.
Ms. Williams, what do you think qualifies you to run for school board?
My 9th grader. He's the reason why I signed up, because I want to help Washington County school system be the absolute best that it can be. And, you know, I hear stories and stuff when he comes home, you know, so I'm a voice. I'm a voice for every one of y'all, even students, teachers, faculty, staff, everybody involved. I'm the voice for you.
Thank you.
Drum roll.
Ms. Johnson, why do you believe that you're the best person for the job?
Well, kind of like what everyone else said, I have a daughter that goes in this school system. She's been here since day one in pre-K. I'm a good, positive, strong voice that I think this board needs. You got 3 seats going in, and I think that it's a good opportunity to bring some renewed energy to the board. I have spoken to majority of the staff in Vernon and Chipley and the Panhandle Technical College. And, you know, I've said this for the last 8 years. I know my daughter's in 7th grade, but 2 themes that resonate is the lack of empathy and the low salary. And when that resonates, and so, for example, I think teachers are jumping ship, and we have high quality teachers in this county that are like driving to Walton County and Jackson and Bay, and that's where they're working, and we should have them here. So why do we not have them here? My daughter goes so tying that back into my daughter, you know, she goes to school here. I went to school here. I believe in Washington County. I believe in everything about this, and it's why I do what I do, and I volunteer, and I do all these amazing things for the children and even adults here. But these high quality teachers jumping ship, that is a culture and a community issue, I believe. That is a leadership top down that I think we really need to look at regarding in this county. So yes, a lot of my daughter, I forgot what your question was, but I am very persistent. I'm a strong voice. I have the tenacity. I'm ready to go to work for Washington County. You know, I already sit on a couple of boards, and I have for over a decade with the Chamber of Commerce. I sit on the Wausau Community Development Club as well for a year. I am very involved in scholarships with children. I'm very involved in giving back, leadership, and all of that. But I think we need to protect our teachers who are leaving this county. I don't want my daughter to be subject to not having access to those high-quality teachers. So that's an important part. Thank you.
Thank you.
Completely forgot.
How about we go back to Ms. Williams and then we don't have to have her. Ms. Williams, what are your strengths that you believe will help you if you are elected?
Okay, give me just a second. Let me
Take your time.
make sure I say what I answered here.
Number 8 on exhibit.
All right, thank you much. Sorry, y'all, we've got a little pamphlet right here. Okay, strengths. I have an open mind. I'm a very independent thinker. I make my own decisions. It's like I've told my kids growing up, because you'll say something like, oh, well, I don't like that. I've told both my boys, just because I don't like it doesn't mean you don't like it. So you need to do it for your own experience, okay? That goes back into the independent thinker. I am me, and I take everything into consideration as I'm making a decision. I'm a great listener. I think I've already said that maybe. And I'm a worker bee. I will go elbow to elbow with every one of you in here. I will not ask anything of you that I'm not going to ask of myself. I'm the behind the scenes person that's going to help you get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Taylor, what are some of your top priorities with you being re-elected? What are some things that you would like to see this next 4 years that you didn't see come to fruition these last 4 years?
Well, I'm not gonna sit up here and give you a bunch of hopes and promises because I found out how hard it is to get anything achieved. But, I'm not saying that in a bad way. When you run, you get out and you talk and it's like, well, we're gonna do this and this and this. Well, it's like a brick wall when you get on there and you find out that you got 4 other opinions about everything, So I'm not gonna sit up here and say that I've got a bunch that I want. One thing that I think that we really do got to work on is like Cindy touched on, we have got to keep teachers. We have got to get the morale up. We've got to get everybody excited about being a teacher again. And the way you do that is leadership. It all starts at the top, and it works its way down. I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody sitting in here, but leadership is what builds morale. Leadership is what keeps your teachers here. Okay, I own a business. If it wasn't for me going out every morning and exciting my guys about what we're going to do that day, they'd be dropping like flies. It's not a glorious job. We work on the highway. It is hot right now. They don't even want to come to work. Morale is what keeps them coming. Dedication to them is what keeps them coming. And that's what pours over. As bad as you want to say it, this is the biggest business in Washington County. We've got a $112 million budget. There's not another budget in Washington County that has that kind of money. This is a business. That is how you keep teachers, is you build the morale. You stand behind them. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be behind you as hard as I can, because that is what makes everybody enjoy what they're doing. So I can't sit up here and say what I want to achieve in the next 4 years, because it would be hard to tell you what I want to achieve, but I think that we're going to get going in the right direction. I really do. So.
All right, Mr. Carter, what do you see as the board's roles and responsibilities?
Well, it's my understanding that the board is over policies and procedures, and that's where we have to use some common sense to get some things in, take some things out, to where the superintendent, the principals, and the leadership staff can implement that and make our schools better.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Marquez, what do you believe are the greatest challenges facing Washington County schools at this time?
Lack of parental support in the home. Y'all aren't backed. Whenever you have a child that comes to school, acts however they want, do whatever they want, you send them home, you write them up, there's no consequences whatsoever. And you can send them home all day long. There's no consequences whenever they get home. They're gonna continue to act that way whenever they get back. It's also become very obvious to me that teachers, paras, bus drivers do not feel heard or supported. And my next thing that I said was disruptive and disrespectful students having no consequences for their actions. You're going to school, you're trying to teach, you're doing your job for the kids that are there who want to learn, and you're being disruptive. And there's nowhere now to send those kids. And I think that's a major issue for the school district. Thank you.
Mr. Carter, what do you think the present morale of the teachers and staff are of the Washington County School District at this time?
I was married to a school teacher for 16 years, and I can tell you from experience, it's low, and it's stayed low, and that's like Tonka said, that's something we got to work on, and it starts at the top.
All right, Mr. Taylor, attendance has become an ever-increasing problem. What are some of the solutions you might have to help with this?
You gotta get the kids excited to be where they need to be. I mean, that's bottom line. If you like going to the movies, that's where you're gonna be. If you like going to a football game, that's where you're gonna be. You got to get the kids ready to, or you gotta get them excited. I mean, they're just, it's morale. If you invest in your teachers and you get them excited, they're gonna get the kids excited, you know. You've got to show them that being at school is what changes you, what drives you, what does everything for you. You know, I mean, it just, you've got to get them excited about being at school. You've got to be transparent with the parents, you know, and make them understand how important it is for their kids to be at school. You know, there's a lot you can put about attendance, but you've got to make them want to be there. I would just leave it that simple.
All right, this is for both of Ms. Johnson and Ms. Williams to both answer this question.
Okay.
Violence on our campus is a real issue that schools and teachers face. What plan or strategies do you have to help combat this problem? And please be specific if you could.
Okay, well, this one was one that I feel this in my heart, but I put on my paper here, there's policy and procedure in place. But y'all, we have to hold whomever is being violent accountable for their actions. If that's calling a parent, telling them to come pick them up. Okay, when we were all in schools that were sitting up here, we got sent to the office one time and our parents were being called. We were being paddled, you know. I myself, if Miss Clemens calls me for Ian and says, hey, he was doing this and he wasn't supposed to be, paddling. I'm coming to get him, and then I'm gonna get him when we get home. And then he's gonna start losing the privileges at home. But that's me. But we've got to start, these children, they have to be held accountable, or whomever the violence is, they've got to be held accountable and see that there are repercussions to their actions. Because once they get outside, once they graduate high school, you know, we've got to figure it out here, you know. And teachers, I know y'all catching a lot of it, and I am so sorry for that. But again, we're your voice. We will, you know, we will help as much as we can and be your voice to be heard.
Okay. Well, I wrote 22 pages of notes, so I'm going to use them. Okay, this is a good question, because let's talk about what we have and let's talk about what we can do. So I know we have the SROs. I really believe that we need to rebrand what it means to be an SRO. I think we need to raise the standards. You know, I think that an SRO really needs to be one that is, no offense to anybody, but I think we need very fit SROs that can get from A to Z in a timely manner. I think that's important. I think they need to be visible. If you ask my Olivia, she would tell you she never saw an SRO last year in 6th grade. So if some of the issues in middle school, I'll use that for an example, is transition during classrooms. So if there's vaping going on in the bathroom, if there's inappropriate sexual activity, which Olivia has never told me, but teachers did, if that's happening, and if there's fighting, why do we not have SROs more present? And then you gotta say, okay, well, that's just one SRO for an entire middle school and one SRO for a high school. I just think that the rebranding is really important. And when I say that, my husband is a law enforcement officer, his degrees in criminology, he's a sniper, he's on the CERT team. So, and I'm gonna tie that back in because when they get an opportunity to be like a K-9 sergeant, or they get an opportunity to be a sniper, the law enforcement agencies give them extra stipends. It's a big deal for them to be accepted and to have that position. I think an SRO needs to be held to that same standard. I don't think we get, no offense, I'm not trying to say everyone's lazy, but I just think that we have to work on that. So that's number one. I already talked about the K-9. Okay, I want to talk about this. This is a hot topic. I was in Tampa last month, and I was there with the governor, the first lady, Rick Scott. I was also there with the Parkland father who lost his daughter in the school shooting. DeSantis appointed him to safety legislation. So what does he do? They have now the Guardian program. We are one of 18 counties, last time I checked, that are not part of the Guardian. And I get that's a hot topic, and I'm sure everyone knows what that is. That's when you actually have weapons on campus. Do I think Susie the bookkeeper needs a gun? Absolutely not. But I think we have to work on collaboration with the county commissioners and the sheriff, and we've got to talk about how to utilize maybe retired military and law enforcement that are passionate about keeping the safety and security of our children and our teachers. And I think it deserves a hard conversation. I'm all for that program, to be honest with you. Another thing I want to talk about, cameras in the middle school. I know they're not working. Bus drivers, they're not working. Have to don't. We got to deal with that. I want to talk about this. I know my time's up, but Bay County, they implemented the panic button system. We need to look at that. Do you know teachers can push a panic button in the classrooms and it goes straight to law enforcement if there's an active shooter or any situation? I think that's powerful. And I guess I have a question too, being elected, is do these police officers have access to this school with these safety doors? Look, that's a great step in the right direction. I don't know if it's just checking off the safety box or what, but to me, you just trapped in a shooter in this school with our children with the safety doors. I know it's great to not have the public come in, but I have to just question, my time is up. Oh, I have so much to say on that. Okay, thank you.
All right, how about we go back to Mr. Taylor?
Why are y'all laughing? They didn't give me an opportunity to write out my answers. This is all on the cuff right here.
That's right.
No, I'm not an expert. But I will touch on that last question that was asked of me to get attendance back up. We need WISE back. We need WISE. I don't care. We need WISE. You've got to get it. You've got to keep everybody else. I have heard, I was sitting here thinking, I've heard parents say, well, my kid don't go to school because they're scared of this other kid, that should be in WISE. And I mean, it needs bringing back. And
To start in elementary school.
Yeah.
Our kids
Yeah,
are
oh, yeah.
never allowed to go.
Right.
They got fear put in them at an early age.
Oh, yeah.
It would stop some of that.
Oh,
And it needs to
well, it's
start.
like one of these said, consequences. There needs to be consequences.
Sorry.
I tell people all the time, consequences and discipline are the two things lacking in these schools. If there was consequences and discipline, then you wouldn't have problems. But, all right, I'm ready for any question. Huh? Oh.
All right, Mr. Carter, describe your understanding of the working relationship between the Washington County School District and the union, and what would you do to improve, change it, help it?
Well, being a union member myself, I kind of understand it on the union side. We go to negotiations every 3 years to redo our whole contract, and every year we get to open a couple articles. So I'm completely on the union side of that one. I understand where they're coming from. Also, if I become elected school board member, I will know exactly what we can and can't do for the union.
Okay. Ms. Marquez, do you believe in the right to bargain? How do you feel about unions?
Yes, I absolutely believe in the right to bargain. Bargaining is how you set up a budget and you stick by it. I absolutely do. I wrote, teachers have the right to bargain. Bargaining is a major part of budgeting. Unions offer a level of protection and we need them. My husband's a police officer. I absolutely believe in unions for lawsuits, support, and bargaining, yes.
All right, this will go to Tonka. All right, explain your current views on how teachers are evaluated.
I'll take it if you don't want it.
No, well, my current views
It's 164 pages
on your views.
on the teacher evaluation.
Come on, Tonka.
Well, I mean, I don't think it, I don't know how to say this, and well, I know, I'm just saying I don't know how to answer this without stepping on some toes, but I mean,
Stop.
well, I mean, you know, every way that y'all are evaluated isn't fair, you know, I mean, just let me leave it at that. I don't think it's fair. I don't want to just sit up here and say what I really want to say, but I don't think it's fair the way that you're evaluated, you know, as far as I believe that teachers should be able to evaluate their principal. You know, I think that the principal comes in and evaluates I'm probably stepping on toes, but the principal comes in and evaluates the teachers, but the teachers don't have any say-so of the principal, you know, and I don't necessarily think that that's correct, you know, I mean, I think everybody should have their own opinion and be able to voice their opinion, write it down. I'm not saying that it should be, I'm not saying you should have the say-so, I'm just saying you should be able to put in your opinion and tell your leaders what you think of who's leading you, you know, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Ms. Williams, have you received any donations or endorsements from any of the groups, and if so, which ones?
No, I have not.
Johnson, have you received any donations or endorsements from any groups?
No groups. I am a Moms for Liberty member, but I didn't get any endorsement. I didn't ask. I could have, but I didn't. No, I just asked some really wealthy people that had nothing else better to do with their money to support me. But nothing in special interest or anything like that. Not at all.
I missed that, the Liberty what? I'm sorry.
Oh, I am a Moms for Liberty member out of Bay and Walton County. I'm sure if you've watched that, we are very much aligned with Governor DeSantis. I just did a national summit with him, and Martin Luther King's niece, Alveda King, Dr. Ben Carson, Rick Scott, all of them in Tampa. We spent 4 days together at a Moms for Liberty event. Just a grassroots organization that came out of COVID with everything happening with school boards and the parents down south that you saw when the school board was shutting down the mic and everything else with the parents. That's where the parents, or the expansion of the Parents' Rights Bill, came out of with Moms for Liberty. I actually had dinner with them last month, and it was just an amazing group of women with the senator down there. Good conversation, courageous women who have been fighting the fight in Tallahassee for our children and for teachers and for parents' rights. But no money from them. I didn't do that.
Thank you. Ms. Williams, What are your views regarding FPTC? Do you believe in the courses and the programs that they provide for the students?
Yes, I am all for FPTC. I do believe in the programs. My daddy's been through a program. My oldest son started a program, and then he got offered a job in that field, which of welding. So he left the school and went to work. Chandler went to FPTC, got his welding stuff. Right now, Ian is not really happy with me for his summertime being spent doing physical science. Because his junior and senior year, he's going to FPTC to do the welding program. And the whole program for him is when he graduates high school, he will have his certificate. You know, with him and with, I think most kids, when we're talking about the tech college, we need to sit down and I call it the game plan sheet that we got in 8th grade when we were choosing all the different classes for 9th. And he got frustrated with me one day. And he said, Mama, why? Why am I having to do this? Okay, one, you're the one that's wanting to do welding your junior and senior year, right? Yes, ma'am. 2, this is what's gotta happen. Okay? He was like, I need it on paper. I need you to show me on paper. So I took that little game plan paper that says 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade of all the classes. Okay? So I started marking out classes 9th grade. Okay? Moving classes from 10th to 9th, so on and so forth. He looked at me and he was like, I get it. I get it, Mama. And in about 2.5 weeks' time, he had physical science complete. So all that going back to, I am all for our tech college. And I will be a voice for our tech college, loud and clear, just like I will y'all.
All right, Tonka, what are your views regarding FPTC?
We've got to do something and do something fast. We just had a meeting about we had to raise tuition to even get things turning around, but to me, I think FPTC should be busting at the seams. You know, I think we need to get more programs that get kids excited about coming and get them over there. You know, I mean, it just there is a very, very big need for HVAC and stuff like that. You know, I mean, it just there's a lot we can do with FPTC. It just, we've got to get together and get some ideas. I didn't realize we were in that much financial trouble, you know? And so there's, I think I said at the meeting, you know, that it's gonna take some money to make some money, I think, and we're just gonna have to bite the bullet and get things rolling that we need to get rolling, the programs that interest the kids. We've got to find out what interests them. We got to find out what they want. We've got to implement those plans and get something going to get enrollment up, you know. We've got a lot to do at FPTC, but we've got a short time to do it, so.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, what ideas do you have to upgrade and improve FPTC facilities and equipment so that it can continually compete with nearby technical colleges?
Well, like Tom just said, we have to get the programs in there that's going to bring more interest back to the campus. And that's going to take a community effort. We need to get in the schools in the 9th and 10th grade and find out what interests these kids and bring it in. And he's right, it's going to take some money up front to buy the stuff, buy the programs, get the teachers in, get the curriculum built, but then it'll pay off in the long run.
Ms. Marquez, what ideas do you have to help with FPTC enrollment?
I could talk about this all day long. I have a lot of ideas about FPTC. One is dual enrollment. It's not going to make it without dual enrollment. We have got to get in these schools and get these kids excited about taking the programs that are offered there. There doesn't need to be a punishment to go to FPTC. You can't send them the kids that can't go to Chipley. That's not what it is. It's a treat to go there, just like it was whenever I was in school. It's great. There has to be guidelines, rules. You can't go there and waste the educator's time. You can't go there and take up a seat and then not show up or be disruptive whenever you're there. We have to talk to these kids and let them know what they can do with these trades. Let them come spend the day with me at the salon, hang out, see what we do, see whether or not this is something they want to do with their life. Encourage them, let them know that if you sign up for cosmetology and you don't like it, you can change, you can do something different. But there are so many programs that are offered there that we can get new programs. Maybe it's time for some new programs, but we need to talk to these kids and get them excited about wanting to be there.
All right, Mr. Carter, what is your plan to raise the salaries of veteran teachers in Washington County?
Yeah. Well, it's my understanding that
I get to say I'm doing everything I can.
it's my understanding that some of those pay scales come from the state legislatures, and I've been around some of those state legislatures for some time, and I know them, and I will continue to work with them to see what we can do to get higher wages and stuff. Worst case scenario, we can implement something to do with a bonus around Christmas time, something to help out if we can't raise wages.
I will touch on that. I mean, it is, it's very hard to get any money dispersed to the right areas, and I do believe a lot of it hinges on our state representatives, our Senate, our everything, I mean, they give us so much money. Could we do more? I think we could, but that's I don't think that I looked at it like this, when they raise the rookie teachers' salaries, that's great, but I tell Dish Network every 6 months that I've been a customer for 15 years, and you're gonna give the person that just signed up a better deal than you give me, what I mean? So I really don't know how to answer it, but we've got to keep knocking on their doors. And not just us, anybody on the stage, y'all too, every chance you get, knock on their door and tell them, because I'm not sitting up here to tickle your ears, I'm just saying it is very hard to get any money allocated to the right areas, and it's frustrating sometimes because I would love to see y'all make a lot more, I mean, it's like I said, y'all helped save my life, and helped me to be who I am, so every chance I get, I just talked to Shane Abbott standing over there on 90, he was waving a sign and I stopped by there and I walked out there. I said, I'm headed to a forum for teachers, and you're one that I'm coming after if you get elected, because there's got to be something done, that goes back to the morale, I mean, it ain't no fun to come to work and you've been here 10 years and the person right next door just got there and they're making as much as you. I get it, So, did you have a question for me?
No, that was it.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Williams, what are you proposing to do to help our students and their families to be better prepared for the future with their personal challenges, public and personal challenges?
Is that number 4 under FPTC? Just asking.
It's under
Views.
the very last one.
Which one?
Views.
Last question.
I don't think I got that one.
I didn't get that one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Wing it.
So what is the? Ooh. Yeah, none, thanks. Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, ma'am.
For 100.
What are you proposing to do to help our students and their families to be better prepared for the future? For their personal and public challenges? Help our students and their families.
It's kind of hard.
That's the,
It's like fix everything that's wrong.
yeah. Next for 200 maybe?
That was actually our last question. Ms.
I'll say this, equipping our kids and parents, being transparent, more transparent than we're being right now, helping them understand every in and out of the school system is what's gonna help the students and teachers, or parents, is that what you're kind of asking? I don't know if you want to touch more on it, but I mean, we've got to equip them and make them realize how important school is. There are so many needs in this county from kids. A couple of years ago, I went up there. They were passing out lunches. It will break your heart. And y'all know, y'all are teachers, but we have got to make sure that they have everything that they need to be able to send their kids to school and get what they need at school. And you've got to love on them. You've got to love on the parents. You've got to love on the kids. You've got to help them to understand that we're not against them, that we're with them. And I feel like sometimes that's lagging as far as the encouragement side of it. To a parent or a student. They've got to understand that this is a place that helps and not hurts. And you could talk all day and do all kinds of things about it, but if that'll help you.
Okay, thanks. Yes, communication, I think, is a really big key in that. With the students, with the parents, the kids need to ask questions if they don't understand. The parents need to ask questions if they don't understand. Again, I'm that parent. If I don't understand, I'm going to email. I'm going to call, and all you teachers are great at responding, So it's like Tonka says, we've got to love on all of them, make them all feel safe with us, make sure that, the kids have what they need to be able to go home and do their homework, and one thing, I guess since I've touched on the homework part, is internet. There's a lot of our kids that don't have internet service, but the only way they can get their homework or do their studies or pull up the book is online. And that breaks my heart. Going back to when I was in school, we had books. We took books home. And that's hard for me as a parent to help my own child, is not having a book that I can flip through and go back and forth and read and read and reread. So you all do a great job explaining stuff to the kids, to the students, and I appreciate everything you do.
Okay, that was all of our questions that we had. First of all, we'd like to thank you very much for coming. What we're going to do is wrap up the question section now, and we'll just let the candidates walk around. If you'd like to talk to them, you can, and we thank you very much for coming.
Do you want a closing statement from me, fellas?
We would love one. Yeah.
Here you go, Tonka.
We got 30. Oh, you want me to talk?
Oh, I can talk.
Well, I'll say this, I was sitting here thinking about when she was talking about equipping our students and all about school, and I don't know if all y'all know my story, but I'm gonna tell you my story real quick. Growing up, we lived in 28 different houses. It was, we moved a lot. I've had 12 stepdads in my life, and when I sit up here, and I'm not down on my mom, she is my hero because she brought us through that, But when I say that I'm dedicated to y'all, that I just want you to know I'm dedicated, It took teachers time with me to help me. I haven't finished life, but I've been pretty dang successful at life, and a lot of it is dedicated to y'all, to teachers. Heck, Miss Garner, she wasn't Miss Garner, but my 7th grade teacher. And I will never not fight for y'all. And I mean that sincerely. And it's easy to get up here and answer questions. You know, everybody up here is nervous. I didn't even know I was going to be up here, but I just want you to know that you can call me anytime. You know, I will help any way I can. And I'm not even running, but I just want y'all to know that I appreciate each and every one. I do. I appreciate y'all more than you will ever know. You know, like I said earlier, at first when I signed up, it was all about my kids, you know, and what we could better for them. But then as things got going, you know, it's about y'all too. You know, the older you get, you start thinking back, how did you get to where you're at, you know? And it always turns to a teacher, you know. Coach Wickham used to get in my face and just hound me if I acted up, you know. He said, you're better than that, you know. And he told me one time, he said, if you're not successful in 10 years, he said, it is your own fault, you know. And I went and I thought, well, I've got to be rich, I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. But it wasn't, you know, the older I got, it wasn't about money, you know, it was about the human I was becoming, you know. And I like I said, I'm not done with life, but I just thank y'all for everything you do, and you will never understand, I don't think on this side of heaven, what impact y'all have on kids' lives and people's lives, you know. I know it's not always a glorious job. I could not do it for anything, but I can always be a voice for y'all and help y'all in any way I can. And that's going to continue the rest of my life, whether I'm a board member or not. When my kids are done, I want somebody else to step in and be their kid's voice, you know. But it is very humbling to be able to sit up here in front of you and work for you, you know. And I just want all y'all to know that y'all are very much appreciated, and it don't get said enough. So, thank y'all.
Had a way to set the bar on it there.
I wrote 22 pages if anybody wants a copy. Patty will email it to you.
In closing, my daughter has just recently graduated this past year. She's going to nursing school at Chipley. I was very active through her process going through school. My ex-wife was a teacher, so she let me handle most of the, please go talk to this teacher so I don't have to, go talk to this teacher so it doesn't cause a rift between us. Just go take care of this. So I was very active. I know the struggles y'all face, and my youngin was pretty decent. Pretty decent. So I just want y'all to know I will have y'all's back and I'll have y'all's support.
Turn again. Okay. So I wanted to, there was a question that you asked that it wasn't asked to me. Can I give my input on it? Okay. Your plans to raise salary for veteran educators and school counselors. Now, take this with a grain of salt because I am not on the board right now, and Tonka can maybe say what I would actually be able to do about this, and I don't want to promise anything. But to me, it's pretty simple that DeSantis and Tallahassee has really advocated for getting higher salaries for teachers starting out, rookie teachers, and that's great. That's fantastic. But it left our veteran teachers who have been there out, which to me is a slap in the face. I don't want to hear the new girl at my salon who finished school last week charging the same thing that I am for a haircut. I don't want to hear it. It's going to irritate me every time. And the military has a scale for this. It's a pay scale. They take E1, E2, all the way W1, O1, whatever it is, and then they do your time in service. So that way, if you become a warrant officer at some point during the time, W1, and you were an E7 before that, they're going to still take your time in service, and it's going to be a scale that they're going to look, and you're going to get paid for that. I think it's simple. I think that if possibly Washington County could implement that it would be.
Took it away.
It's against statute.
Okay.
With statutes.
It's against statute,
State statute.
For longevity pay.
well,
Yeah, that changed.
I think that's a crying shame.
Yeah, it is.
Also too.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what we're fighting is the statute, the laws.
Well,
It's stupidity.
As Tonka said earlier, yeah, I agree with you, Patty, I totally do. And as Tonka said earlier, this is an important election. And we've got a lot of people on the ticket, not just locally, but we've got people on the ticket that we're like-minded with and that we need to be talking to them. We have to talk about that. That's crazy. It was an oversight. And how it was an oversight, I don't know. Because that doesn't work, and that's really, really, really affecting our morale, y'all's morale. And it's crazy to me. So, other than that, I just wanted to say thank you for having me here today. Clearly, I have a lot to learn because I didn't know that. But I appreciate this whole process, whether or not I'm elected or not. I have learned so much, and I'm appreciative of all of you teachers, all of everything that you are to my children. Tonka was talking about teachers that he had. If it wasn't for my guidance counselor forcing me to go to hair school because I didn't want to, because my grandmother had done it, and I wasn't going to do that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And she knew that I was capable of it, pushed me through, and I am forever thankful to Miss Westbrook. So I just wanted to say, please show us, talk to us, tell me what it is that we can do to help y'all.
Thank y'all for listening to all of us talk this afternoon. It has been a pleasure for me to be able to sit in front of y'all and talk with y'all. If you want to ask me any questions, I'll hang out for a while so we can chit chat on the side. Again, I have a student in Chipley High School, 9th grade, and I would really humbly like to ask for your votes on the 23rd. Thank you.
You guys, I am excited about this campaign. It's been amazing. I have gone classroom to classroom. I have talked to the citizens in the county. I've heard their stories. I've heard their feedback. And I'm really just excited to go to work for this county and to represent you and the kids and the parents. I do think that I've got all these amazing answers to these questions, but I do want to hear more from the teachers as the year goes. When's the last time someone asked you guys a survey? When is the last time anyone asked you, you're a stakeholder, an anonymous survey on how things are going for you? How do you feel about your daily operations? You know, I think that's important. I think that's going to help boost the morale. I think when I talk about communication as one of the focus points, I'm even looking at parents. You know, if we look at Walton County, they just implemented the Let's Talk program, and I think that's amazing for parents. It's a 24/7 phone number, and parents and stakeholders can text and call, and people will get back to them with their concerns. I just think at the end of the day, communication is key. You know, it's the same thing with school board meetings. I've gone, I'm sitting in there, you know, I don't think it needs to be an act of Congress to figure out what's happening in the county. And so with that being said, I think you could utilize Facebook. I think you could go live with these school board meetings. Parents need to be more engaged, parent involvement. And I think same thing with the teachers, with the anonymous surveys. I just think it's all part of changing the community. And I know that I want to mention this because on the Florida Panhandle Technical College, I have talked about it a lot. I think that we can re-image. I think what's happening right now with things I'm seeing out of Facebook is amazing. But you know, when you think about 80% of these kids, when they graduate Chipley and Vernon, they're never going to see a classroom again. 20% go to a university. What are we going to do with the 80%? So we got to rebrand, and I think it's on its way. They've already had their slogan to get these kids certified. I would love to see more hands-on programs in the school, so by the time these kids graduate, they can go and have a good job and ties into economic development and being a productive citizen. Look, at the end of the day, the governor asked me a couple months ago, and he knew the answer. He just wanted to make sure I knew the answer. How do we make our students better citizens? And I answered it two ways. You make it, one, I think by preserving civics in the school system. What I mean by that is if immigrants have to come to this country and they pass an immigration test, you know, they have a great appreciation for this country. We need to do that with our students. and it starts with civics, and the governor's even talking about it right now. They need to understand our founding fathers. They need to understand the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and have a true respect for this country and what it's built on. I also think that we engage this community into the schools way more than what we're doing, and we do the leadership and the service organization type programs and get these kids understanding what it's all about giving back. I give back. I'm a Take Stock in Children mentor. I have been for a while, especially when Kiwanis used to have it, but I'm doing it again this year. They need 10 more adults. You know, I'm ready to give these kids some scholarships. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling and talking all over the place, but I appreciate the vote. I would love for you to talk to me more. Cindy for the Board is my website. I actually created that. And on that website, you can reach out to me, my cell number, email, all the good stuff. And I appreciate that vote. Thank you very much.
We had everyone, all the candidates to fill out the questionnaires. We had about, last year before the end of the year, I sent out an email and asked for everybody to tell us, you know, what questions you might want for the candidates. So we had about 40 questions, and I sent every one of them the 40 questions, asked them to fill them out and send them back to us. So what I'm going to do now that we finished this, is I will pass them on to you. I'll forward them to you so you can look at them at your leisure. They've got their thoughts together, and so you'll be able to look back over, and every one of them answered every of the 40 questions, because we obviously couldn't ask that many questions tonight. So that way everybody was able to answer, and we all get our questions asked and answered. Okay? All right. Thank you very much for coming.